Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for being here today. We are very excited to have this opportunity to present to you. Let us begin by introducing our team. My name is Han and joining me today are Hui, Dac, Ngân and Ting, who have all contributed really to our work. Today, we are going to talk about assessment of auditor independence is an important step when it comes to accepting a new customer. Given the current professional ethics regulation, should Hoàng Cầu Company accept this customer? And this is a topic we find very important and relevant in today's world. And we hope to share some interesting insight with you. Before we dive into the main content, let me walk you through the table of content for today's presentation. Part 1 is an overview of independence. We will begin by discussing the purpose of independent assessment, then move on to the key areas that should be of value to ensure independence. Part 2 asks an important question. Should Hoàng Cầu Company accept? Here, we will assess the relationship between the auditor and the client. Consider the risk of closing independent and check whether the engagement complies with professional standards. We will also touch on the importance of proper documentation and approval in this process. Finally, in part 3, we will wrap up with a short conclusion summarizing our key findings and recommendation. And now, let's get started with a part 1 by Hui.
Hello teacher, I'm Hui and now I represent you our group first part called Overview of Independence. The first part I will divide into two parts. The first part I will talk about the purpose of independence assessment, and the second part is some key areas to assess for independence. Firstly, independence assessment is a mandatory process conducted prior to accepting a new audit client. Its primary purpose is to ensure that the auditor can perform engagement objectively without bias or undue influence. This process helps maintain public confidence, audit quality, and compliance with professional ethics, including the IESBA Code of Ethics and Vietnamese Standards on Auditing. In the next part, some key areas to assess for independence. Firstly, self-review. When the auditor reviews their own work or services they have done in the past, this will affect on auditor when they giving their audit opinion, and hard to critically evaluate when they audit their own work. For example, the auditor audit financial statement that include some features from the documentation they have done in the past, such as tax or some document just like that. And next one is self-interest. When the auditor has a financial or personal interest in the client, the auditor may avoid reporting issue to protect their own benefit. For example, when the auditor holding shares or investing in the client, and when they giving audit opinion, they won't tell truly and correctly to protect their benefit. The third one is advocacy. When the auditor promotes a client position or interest, the auditor may become too aligned with the client perspective and impairing objectivity of the auditor. For example, representing a client in a legal dispute or lobbying on their behalf. The next one is familiarity. When close or long-standing relationship with the client led to too much trust or reluctance to challenge, the auditor may reduce their skepticism when auditing the client. For example, a partner auditing the same client for many years or having close personal ties with client staff will make the auditor to trust on the client and won't be skepticism enough to giving truly audit opinion. The next one is also the final area is intimidation. When the auditor is deterred from acting objectively due to actual or perceived pressure, uh, because of the fear of negative consequence, may lead the auditor to compromise in their independence. For example, the client threatened that they will switch the auditor or sue over audit findings when the auditor giving bad comments on the audit opinion, and this will affect the auditor a lot when they issuing the audit opinion. That's the end of my presentation.
Today, I want to talk about something really important in auditing, and that's independence. Before an audit firm accepts a new client, they need to ensure that nothing is going to affect their skill to be fair and objective. In this case, GEC, a big paint company listed on the stock market, is looking for a new audit firm after cutting ties with their previous one. They reached out to SEC not just for auditing, but also for help with tax issues and financial consulting. This sounds like a great business chance for SEC, but it also raised some red flags about whether the audit team can stay truly independent. So, why does independence matter so much? Well, if an auditor isn't independent, people cannot trust their opinion. That's why there are professional rules like the IESPA code in Vietnam auditing standard that require auditors to check for any problem that could affect their independence. We have seen what can happen when this goes wrong. Remember the Android scandal. The audit firm Arthur Andersen lost its independence and ended up collapsing. That's why this step is not something we can skip or take lightly. Now let's talk about the first big risk in this case, money. This is called a self-interest threat. SEC sees a lot of potential income from GEC, not just for auditing but also for extra advice like tax advice and help with a business deal. In 2015, SEC made about 52 billion Vietnam dong in revenue, so landing a lion like GEC would be a big deal. Mr. Hùng from SEC also wants to grow the company reputation by taking on more risk clients. But when money is involved, people can sometimes start making decisions based on what they will gain, not on what's right. And that's dangerous in auditing. The second risk comes from personal relationship. Mr. Hùng is known Mr. Thanh, GEC CEO. They met at a seminar and stayed in contact. Mr. Hùng then helped arrange the meeting between two companies. Because of this connection, there is a chance for Mr. Hùng or the audit team might not be as skeptical as they should be. Even if they don't mean to be biased, it can still affect the audit. Imagine if a judge had to make a decision about their best friend. No matter how hard they try, people will question whether the judgment is fair. It's the same here. To sum it all up, GC looks like a ray lion, but there are some serious risks to independence. HCC could be influenced by the chain to earn more money, or by the personal connection between Mr. Hùng and the GC CEO. This thing could make the audit less trustworthy. That's why we always need to take independence seriously, not just to follow the rules, but to protect the
Continue from non-presentation with of love independence, share review thread. ACC provides consultancy on accounting policies. These services may later be reflected in the financial statements. ACC would then be auditing those outcomes. You can audit what you created yourself. Secondly, self-interest rate. A lot of potential income from CEC, not just for auditing but also for extra services. In 2015, ACC made about 52 billion Vietnam dong in revenue. When money is involved, people can sometimes start making decisions based on what they all gain, not on what's right. So the company become financially reliant on this revenue stream, so it might impair its independence in audit engagement. Advocacy threat. ACC supports CEC in obtaining a bank loan or represents them in financial matters. CEC is seeking a 3 million loan from GOP Bank and wants ACC is audit to help secure it. So it undermine its independence. Finally, intermediation threat. CEC has terminated their prior auditor, create pressure to deliver a favorable audit to avoid the same outcome. CEC is a major potential client, creates the pressure on auditors to express a beneficial report. For the company, the fear of losing a lucrative contract, improving professional judgment, that leads to a significant issue to audit quality.
Next is completion with professional standards, ensuring separate teams handle the audit and consulting engagement, reviewing engagement through independent quality control methods, disclosing and resolving any potential threat to independence. SCC must ensure it has no undisclosed finance, personal, or business interest in GEC. Next is documentation and approval. Complete a formal independence assessment checklist. Document on identify threat and propose safeguard in the client acceptance file. Obtain written approval from the firm's engagement partner or ethics committee. Independence has been maintained. Sufficient safeguards are in place. Client acceptance complies with firm policies and professional requirements. Design and implement appropriate safeguard. Separation of audit and consulting team. Engagement quality control reviewer. Appointment. Internal consultation with SEC ethics committee. And next is part 3 conclusion. SCC can accept GEC as a customer if safeguards are implemented to address the potential threat to independence, separating audit and advisory, conducting or thorough risk assessment, implementing quality control reviews, disclosing any identified risks to the client and address them transparently.
That concludes our presentation. Thank you all for your time and attention. If you have any question or feedback, we would be happy to answer them. Thank you.